Get off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, Streaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to splatter and maximize that splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So you will not hear headlines here. Dr. Tiffany always tries to give me the headlines when I keep telling her I don't want to know the headlines, because you can get that anywhere, and it is 100%. I can now say, instead of mostly negative, it is 100% negative all the time, because it wants to make you go, ah, and I don't want to make you do that. We do Heartlines here. We learn new things. We learn skills. We talk about things that matter, that we can control, and make ourselves 88% happy. So topics and guests to that end. If you missed, gosh, I've had a plethora of amazing people. When the moon is in the seventh sun. LaRue came back, and she celebrated my 13th year on camera, on the air, 684 consecutive weeks. Allison Arngrim, the Nellie, the nasty one on Little House on the Prairie, and more. So
I like her. She had
any
so
of those.
Spunk.
Pardon?
I like Nellie. She had so much spunk.
Yeah, she is. She's definitely one of those interesting characters. Hey, Sarah, can you turn your Wi-Fi off, please? Thank you. And my daughter's visiting, as you can tell. And let's see, what else was I going to say? And I also have fabulous series that help with more hope and happiness. And you can tell it's Wednesday because we have the beautiful Inside and Out Dr. Tiffanie Tate, who is a U.S. Navy veteran, a published author, retired OBGYN from Compton, California, playwright, singer, poet, songwriter, and more. Dr. Tiffany is the published author of many children's book, many books, including important children's books. And you'll hear, I guess maybe you won't hear about those today, so I'll give you a couple of them. Bad Touching is my favorite. Money Matters, Little Mia Sings, The Train, something like that. And but the thing that you're going to hear about in the break, she is putting her hat in a new ring that she'll tell you about during the commercial break. Welcome back to the show. My co-host with the mostest on Wednesdays, Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Happy hump day, everyone. We love Wednesdays, especially me, because I get to see my beautiful co-host with the most, Dr. Marissa Pei.
Yay. I thought you were going to say happy humping.
Well, that too, that part.
No, we're not going there. It's only Wednesday. I can only do this when it's, Friday. But we're so glad you're here. We're going to start off with breakfast as per tradition. Breakfast consists of taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. What is that? Mm-hmm. Top of the bun. Things you're grateful for outside of yourself. Bottom of the bun. Things you're grateful for inside of yourself. Dr. Tiffany, start us off, please. What are you grateful for?
I am grateful that every new day brings a new beginning, because a lot of times we get bombarded with all the things that we have to do and all the things that we failed to do. But with each new day brings a new beginning and a new chance for new opportunities.
Fantastic. On that vein, I was just saying to my daughter who's visiting, that's a gratitude. My little one, Sarah, Wei means peace in Mandarin. My beloved dad, who passed from lymphoma, gave her that middle name because she used to do gymnastics when she was not born yet inside of me, pushing on my ribs, flipping around. So my dad named her Wei for peace because he didn't know what was going to happen when she got out of my body. And I'm so grateful they got to see each other when she was 22 days old before he passed. So I'm grateful that they had that time. And there's a picture I'm going to have to pull up to show you at some point that it looks like their spirits crossed, which was so beautiful. I'm grateful for that. What else are you grateful for?
And I am grateful that my son will be coming home from OBO camp. He has been in North Carolina and developing his skills and teaching other students how to master their skills, because we know that he is in his PhD program and he is developing his teaching skills. So I am grateful that he will be coming back home to spend more time with his mama.
Nathaniel. Great. And I'm grateful that I was telling my daughter this is the first time I am doing a move that is so symbolic. Those of you who actually, you may not know this. One of the things that happened when my mom passed almost 2 weeks ago is there's nothing like, my bonus mom passed 3 months ago. Then my bio Chinese mom passed less than 2 weeks ago. And it's always a good time to sort of take stock. And I realized that I've got one major more chapter in my life, 25 years, even though I'm #ageless. And so I'm going back on world tour. And so I'm going through everything that I've accumulated here on the beach for the last 8 years. And those things, even before that, I never really had time to go through everything. You kind of just you start going through stuff. Dr. Tiffany, I don't know if this happens to you, and you're organized, you feel good about throwing stuff you don't need and blah, 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 blah. And then halfway through it gets so overwhelming, or you run out of time, or both, that you just take everything as is and just shove it in the new place, thinking you'll have time to go through it, which you never do. And so this time I gave myself plenty of time to, go through everything, selling everything, giving, donating. And I am so grateful that I have the opportunity. It actually feels good. This is the first move that I don't feel yet that it's a stressor. So
yes, that's always nice.
Yeah. One more.
And I am grateful that I have an opportunity to expand my horizons, because when I had my sorority meeting this past weekend, I was able to network and get some added support for just things that I needed to help me grow. And I believe that whenever you're able to grow, you're able to reach new horizons and have hope.
And I'm going to ask you specifically what you're doing now, breaking my rule. But we're not talking about politics per se, but I think it's important that y'all know that my Doctors in the House co-host is about to embark on a major chapter of her life as well. And that is?
I am running for Congress of the 41st District here in California, and I will be doing a commercial during our commercial. And this weekend, I was able to get an endorsement, and that is a big deal for me. So I was trying to talk around that.
Yes, but that's why I just said, let's just put the moose on the table, which is talking about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And it's a good elephant, though, and I wanted to give you kudos for that. All right, let's go to the bottom of the bun. Someone gave us a finger. Thanks for joining us. I can't tell who it is. I see eyeballs rolling into the studio. We got a finger, which is this one, not the other one. But if you are driving, please do not chat. But when you land somewhere, please do free subscribe to my YouTube TV channel that houses all 1,000. What are we on? 1,408 podcast shows, but who's counting? And that way you can chat with us and ask us questions, especially when we get to the topic of the day. However, we're at the bottom of the bun, which is the bottom of the bun of the gratitude sandwich is weightlifting for our mental health. New phrase from my Marissa isms. I would like you to know and affirm before you go to bed every night that you are one of a kind, wonderful, and the voice that says you're not all that, or who do you think you are, and don't toot your own horn, that is going to abate when you practice saying and believing and saying what you are good at, what you're happy with about yourself, so you are not your own worst enemy. So that's the bottom of the bun. And we say things that we like about ourselves. So Dr. Tiffanie, you get to start again.
I like the fact that I am able to speak up and speak out. And I think it's important to know when to speak and how to speak, because when you know when it's appropriate, you're able to diffuse situations and you're able to advocate for certain things, like this weekend.
Absolutely. Jerry, Dr. Tiffanie. Yay, Dr. Tiffanie getting ready to get on the road. Hello, doctors. Hello, Jerry. Always fabulous to see your smiling, beautiful face in the thumbnail. And we're glad that you're here. You are the captain of my cashew gallery today because you're the first one to check in. So thank you for doing that. Welcoming people that as they come into the cashew gallery. I appreciate that I know how to make myself feel better. I have tools, I have practices, I have good life habits, I have #Blissciplines that allow me at any time not to do a spiritual bypass when I'm not feeling good, but to feel what I'm feeling to the fullest and then have tools to feel better, because life is way too short to feel piss-offedness all the time. So I appreciate that I know how to make myself feel good.
I like the fact that I have research skills, because I think it's important to be able to look up the information and rightly divide the information, because anyone can speak their opinions. And I think it's important to have some basis and groundwork to back that up and then know the information before speaking your opinion.
Yippers. Definitely. I appreciate that I can admit that I was wrong. Don't like it, but I can do it. Practicing, not often, but which is one of the good news about not liking to do it is I ask myself 3 questions before I open my mouth. Is it kind? Is it true? And is it necessary? So that tool helps keep me in the ability to not have to apologize so much.
Right.
But I can. All right, that's it for breakfast with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate
on Straight Talk every weekday Wednesday. We're glad you're here. I would urge you to continue this good life habit, whether it's with me on the show or not. I am here every weekday morning, and we'll be streaming and still doing the show from Canada, where I will be next month. In Africa, we're going to take a little bit of a break, but it's just 2 weeks, and we'll put I think we're pre-recording actually, so there'll be new shows for you, and I'll be back in September. Actually, I can broadcast from Hawaii. I can broadcast from Atlanta. I can broadcast from San Francisco. And then we're going to take a hiatus when I'm in China. Although, when I'm in China, I realized that I could broadcast at midnight. That's your 9 o'clock. So your 8 o'clock, which you said you would do. So maybe I'll be broadcasting live from China. Who knows? But thank you for joining us for breakfast. And frankly, my dear, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anyone else to? Thanks for joining us for breakfast. And now, for the topic of the day.
Hey, you! Hey! Hey, you!
Dr. Tiffanie, take it away.
Today we are talking about grief and hope. Hope and grief. Grief and hope. On the roller coaster of life, you are bound to experience these things at some point in life. You might be even experiencing this right now because life comes at you fast and hard, and we do not have control of it as much as we desire to. So I thought this would be a good topic to address at this point in time.
And kudos to Dr. Tiffanie, who usually I don't let her talk to me before the show because I want to keep everything fresh. And she wanted to just make sure that I was okay to talk about grief because my mom passed a little less than 2 weeks ago. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks. But I said, well, I actually did a show on Friday right after she passed to talk about it. And then Monday on mental health matters. So absolutely. But thank you for checking in and asking first. And so, yeah, we are going to put the moose on the table, talk about grief, my grief, your grief. And then, of course, in the second half of the show, we always talk about solution because I don't like to talk just about problems on the show without offering things to lift. So that's the hope side. So Dr. Tiffanie, take it away.
Absolutely. Because grief is natural. That's number one. It's normal. It's a natural response to loss. And that loss can be due to the death of a loved one. It can be due to ending a relationship with someone you cared about, whether it is a physical relationship with a partner, whether it is with a best friend. It could be due to major life changes, whether that is political, whether that is financial due to a loss of a job, whether it is due to the loss of just a home. It can just be due to anything that is happening in your life that is affecting you emotionally, financially. So it's just a painful process, and it can involve any range of emotions like sadness, anger, denial, and confusion. And so it's just something that we all have to deal with at some point in our lives.
I want to just butt in right here because it sounds like so, of course, that's true. It's elementary, it's basic, it's fundamental. Why are you even talking about it? And I have to say, one of the biggest BS belief systems that our society, I don't know who started this, but the book, Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People, is a great example of this underlying belief system, BS, bullshit-talkie, that when something bad happens, it's like unexpected, shouldn't happen, abnormal. I must have done something wrong. There's evil. There's got to be a devil. There's got to be like that life is normally so beautiful, butterflies and seashells, and nothing bad should happen, which is so ridiculous. So this point to start it is so important. So if you're a person that holds that BS, that bad things shouldn't happen, or if they do happen, someone's getting punished, I want you to rethink that, because pain in life is mandatory. If you're living, you're going to have some pain. Normal, normal, normal. People do not live forever. Normal, normal, normal. Tragedies do happen. Normal, normal, normal. So when you get like knocked down, and I say this gently, I have clients who are still suffering from a death of someone who lived a full life. For 30 years, they're suffering from that death. And for me, that is not how they would want you to live your life, number one. And two, obviously, this is an episode that you want to listen to, because to be grieving for 30 years over a loss is really not what life is for. So I just wanted to pound that little point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because grief can be triggered by various things, like we were talking about: job, divorce, chronic illness, and different significant life changes. But it is an emotional response, and we do have to eventually deal with our emotions. But one thing I did find interesting when I was reading about it, because I've experienced grief, you've experienced grief, is that there's a distinction between grief and mourning. Because a lot of times we think that, oh, it's the same thing, but it's not. Grief is internal and mourning is external. Because grief is an internal experience, and mourning is associated with rituals. And I never really looked at it that way, but when we do mourn, we do perform rituals. And a lot of times we have a ceremony and we honor the loss. And a lot of times when you mourn, that can often help you process that grief. And I didn't look at it that way, but that was something that was interesting to me. What do you think, Dr. Marissa?
I think that's great. I never knew that there was a distinction, and it does make sense. But the last thing you said, I think, was the anchor point of that mourning actually helps you process your grief. And so those who don't like to go to funerals, don't like to go to celebrations of life. By the way, I really like the fact that we don't say funeral as much anymore, and we say celebration of life, because that's exactly what it is. I'm going to have a celebration of life, by the way, before I die, the same way Dr. David Simon did. I don't want to hear this stuff when I'm gone. I want to hear it while I'm alive. As long as it's nice things to say. But I'm serious about that, because yeah. So all the nice things people say after you're gone is completely useless to me. But the important part of the rituals to help you process, and if you don't, then that's when you bury, repress, get infected, because what you do not deal with will come back and deal with you. So it's important to go through that mourning process.
Absolutely. I've always had the mentality: handle your business before your business handles you. And it's important to definitely address these emotions, because when you keep them bottled in, you can end up sick with stress and hypertension and anxiety. And not to say that these things cannot be addressed, but you don't want to aggravate these things. And so you want to allow your emotions to be processed so that you can feel the full range and not suppress them or avoid them. And you want to seek support. You want to maintain your routine life and establish self-care, because we always talk about these things because grief involves coping with the loss. And a lot of times when you're struggling, it's crucial for you to take care of your physical as well as your emotional issues. And when we don't, it cannot be a good thing. And a lot of times there are 5 stages to grief, and you don't necessarily go through them
in that order.
Yes, in a specific order. And there's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And a lot of times you can go in a circle, you can go in a straight line, and you can hopscotch all over the place. So don't feel that you are going to process them in a specific order.
Absolutely. That's Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's very famous stages of death and dying, or grief and loss. And it does help people be in acceptance of whatever they're feeling. It's less important to me that you know the stages. It's more important for me that you feel every feeling that comes with it fully, without avoiding it or bypassing it, and yet not getting stuck in it. And I think I've seen so many people not be able to come out of it because they stay in that stage and we talked about this on Monday, law of attraction. You continue to talk about something that is negative or something that hurts you, brings you that grief over and over and over. You're not going to let it go. It'll get bigger. And that's how, when you lose someone, by the way, I'm going to talk about that word. When someone passes, you never lose them. People, that's the one thing that makes death harder to take, is that word loss. When people say to me, I'm sorry for your loss, I understand what they're saying, but I'm really trying to change that. I'm sorry, condolences for yourself. I say a deep breath of peace and comfort as you miss them in their body. I mean, that is the truth. They're never gone. They're always in your heart. There's their energy, their spirit. They're always here. They're watching, they're helping, they're guiding you. You just aren't tuned into them, that they're here. Not doing Shirley MacLaine, but I am saying that word loss, I think, makes things harder when people pass.
And I completely agree, because you don't necessarily lose them. They're always with you. They're always in your heart. They're always in your mind and in your spirit. And you carry the memory of them with you. And I know after my mother passed away in 2013, and a lot of people say, I look like my mother with the color of my father. And yes. And I actually look in the mirror sometimes and I see her reflection looking back at me. And I know that I carry her with me, even though I was not raised by my maternal mother. I was raised by my maternal aunt since I was 2 years old. And so,
Mom T.
Yes, my mom T. And so despite everything that I had to deal with my mother struggling with her issues with drugs and alcoholism, she was always by my side, and she showed me love, but she always showed me what not to do. And that was a form of grief for me growing up. But I do know what it's like, and I do know what the struggles can be. And I know that the struggle is indeed real. So Dr. Marissa and I are not just speaking, we speak from experience as not just providers, but as people who have been in your shoes. So we want to let you know that this too will pass, but it's something that you must endure and you can overcome.
Absolutely. And I'm not being rude. I'm listening. I'm putting a promo up right now. I forgot to do it before we got on to tell people to come and join us live right now. So that's what I'm doing.
No worries. No worries.
Yes, absolutely. And it is time to take a quick break for news, weather, traffic, and a word from our sponsor. So don't go away. We're going to continue to talk and look at solution when we come back on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind, with our fabulous Wednesday series called Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
We'll be back in 2 and 2. That's not Chuck Woolery's, but peace in, peace out. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
Hello, my name is Dr. Tiffanie Tate. I was born in Compton, California, and I am ready to go to Congress. I want to be the 41st District Congressperson because I believe there needs to be a change. I am running for Ken Calvert's seat because I am ready to take on the leadership role. I am a board-certified OBGyn. I'm a veteran officer of the United States Navy. I am a published author, and I have the leadership skills. I have the ability to unify people, and I am ready to take on this position. Please go to my website at drtateforcongress.com. That is drtateforcongress.com. Learn about my platform. Learn about where I stand and what I will fight for. Whether you are red or blue, know that I will fight for you. That is drtateforcongress.com, and support me as I seek the position for the 41st District. Thank you.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere, especially my YouTube TV channel that now has 3.9 million impressions. Thank you so much. I had no clue that my reach was that far, but I appreciate everything and all the support for a show that they said wouldn't last a year. 13 years later, I'm still talking about good news and balancing out all the bad news. So thank you for that. And congratulations to Dr. Tiffanie, my co-host on Doctors in the House, for her new hat in the ring for Congress. And you could just put in Dr. Tiffanie for Congress and you'll see how you can support her. And now we're going back to the topic of the day, which is
Hey,
Grief.
you!
Yes.
Hey!
Hey, you.
Hey, you! Hey! Hey, you!
I don't know. I think maybe I still like this better.
You like the
Topic of the
bang?
day. What is it?
You gotta disagree.
Yeah.
Grief and hope. Grief and hope.
And those of you who have been following me on social, Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa everywhere else, know that. And thank you for all the messages of support and condolences that my mom, the one in Canada, the Chinese mom, passed almost 2 weeks ago. And she is at peace. She's out of pain. She had Parkinson's for over a decade. And so... And those of you know, I was also there a month ago and had the most amazing, grateful closure, healing with someone who, she was a tiger mom. And I have always been pretty open about that. And she knew she wasn't happy about it. And when Dr. Tiffanie, when we come to a place, I will share that story with you. But I don't want to. I want to hear what else you've researched on the topic.
Okay, so now we'll talk about hope, because this is the uplifting part, because there is hope after you have processed your grief and you're ready to get to the other side. There is always hope. And hope is a feeling, and it's a state of mind, and it is a verb. It is something that we must do. And it is defined as the feeling of belief that something or desired will happen or achieve. And the Bible says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So it is, in essence, something that is uncertain. And I always have hope. I don't know about you.
Well, based on the roast that all my co-hosts did about how positive I am, I think hope is usually my go-to. But I think I will tell you now. I don't know if I've even shared how much of this I've shared with you, Dr. Tiffany. But any of you, and I know this is actually a lot of you. Can you look up? I'll do it. How many daughters have love-hate relationships with their mother? I'm just curious. I wanted to look this up. Okay. Does it have a percentage? I would love to see what that percentage, but there's a lot. Like there's love, hate, conflict, why we hate those we love. So there's a lot on it. So I'm not alone. And I do know that it's an area that I'll be talking about when I go on world tour, as it does affect your happiness. And it's a new focus that I didn't have before because I was still stuck. I'd done a lot of forgiveness work. You all know I'm one of the 7 out of 10 of us who had childhood trauma, and that trauma was from the relationship with my mom, physical, emotional, fat, ugly, clumsy, and being in the hospital. And I had forgiven, I would say 80% of that because I wanted to be happy. I didn't want to punish myself with hatred anymore, so I forgave. However, there was still just a little bit left there. So I would go to visit her every quarter. I didn't look forward to the trip. It was a service thing. It was a daughter's duty thing. And I was never looking forward to the trip, et cetera, et cetera. I would call her every other day. I didn't want to call, but I did it because she has Parkinson's and blah, 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 blah. So when I went last month in April for 2 weeks, for the first time, I didn't schedule the trip to be in and out. I gave myself 2 full weeks. I had good conversations with her on the phone before I went. And I got there, and every time, she's been bedridden for a while. Every time I go and see my mom, Dr. Tiffany, I look down and I kiss her cheek or I kiss her forehead, and she'll like turn her face to accept the kiss. Okay. That gesture. And I went in, I bent down, and she took her arms and wrapped them around my neck. And she's super frail with skin and bones. I didn't even know she could do that. And I was shocked and stunned because in my entire life, Dr. Tiffany, she has never given me a hug. Now, I will give her a hug and she'll return it, but she's never, ever, ever, ever initiated a hug because she couldn't, right? So first of all, I was like, who is this? And what have you done with my mother? Right? I was literally in shock. And the gravity and the significance of that hug, I was later to find out even more. But that was this obviously it added to whatever I was going through before I got there. Right. So the work that I've been doing that maybe I didn't even realize I was doing, I have been working on, coming from love more and more, not being so annoyed by annoying people, blah, blah, blah. So love through me. I had been doing that work. So I'll give myself a little credit on that. And from the point she hugged me for the rest of the 2 weeks, it was amazing. And the third day that I woke up in my brother's house, my younger brother's house, I woke up sobbing. And I recorded it. It's 11 minutes and 44 seconds, which is also significant. I didn't time it. And I felt to my innermost soul and core that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that my mother loved me in the way that only she could, and she couldn't do any better, that everybody does. And I say this all the time when I teach the Tai Chi. It's part of polishing table. Everybody does the very best that they can with the time they have and the resources they have. But I say it and I use it, but it didn't sink to that point in my soul that it did that morning. So I was able to go and several times for the rest of the trip say to my mom, I love you. I know you love me. I know you loved me in the only way you could. And I forgive you and I set us free.
That's so good. So beautiful.
And in a million years, I never, ever, ever, ever thought that that would happen. Because the pain was so deep, right? So that happened, and I came back here, and I talked to her every day before she passed and would say, I love you, Mom. And she would say, I love you too. And she was already transitioning towards hospice. She was on hydromorphone, which I called you about to find out, and to keep her out of pain. So she was lucid, maybe an hour a day total. But when she was lucid, the PSW would call me and she put the phone by her ear and I'd say, I love you. And the last time she said, I love you too was on a Friday. Saturday, she stopped eating. Sunday, she became semi-unresponsive. And I talked to the nurse on Monday and she says, if you're going to come now, because I can recognize, because I've been working with your mom, and Narjan is her name, and she's so amazing. And so I went to get a ticket, but there is no such thing as hospice tickets. It was like $1,200. But I was ready to do it not because I needed any more closure. Our closure was done. But because with my bonus mom, I had the privilege of holding her hand when the moment of the last breath and she passed over that bridge back into love. I wanted to do that for my Chinese mom. So that's the only reason why I went to go back, and went to buy the ticket non-refundable for $850. And the voice said, wait till the morning. And that morning she passed. And so I would have been in the airplane and not even been able to do what I wanted to do. But that was 2 weeks ago tomorrow. So that's the story. And I'm glad that you picked a topic where I could share that with you and with all of, your fans and your tribe. And I know that, everything happens for our divine and best good. And I'm urging all of you who do have unprocessed, even if they're gone, this is the newest, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm, on tour for, that mother-daughter relationship. But here's the kicker. Remember I started that screenplay by 1,000 Cuts 8 months ago? And I said, I'm not going to publish it until my mother dies. You know why I said that? Because I was going to give you all the dirt that I hadn't given you in the book about how horrible she was, which shows I still had that, in there. But now it's a completely different screenplay. It's talking about healing with mothers and daughters.
And forgiveness.
Yeah, and forgiveness. But here's the kicker. I wrote the final scene. This woman has never hugged me. In my final scene in the screenplay that I forgot about, I wrote in that she hugged me before she died.
So it came to fruition.
And I forgot about it, and I had no clue. I didn't remember that I had done that. Is that crazy?
I know, it's beautiful. That's what it is, because it had to come full circle. And I remember when I had my pericarditis, and I was always saying that I was going to write my autobiography, and I never got around to it. And when I was in the hospital and they called a respiratory code on me, and I was like, okay, I began to bargain with God. And I said, okay, Lord, if you give me another chance at life, I will write my autobiography. Well, I still haven't written my autobiography. I ended up writing.
But Flowetry is kind of your autobiography.
Yes. Well, I ended up writing Flowetry, 108 Poetic Flows on Life, Love, and Liturgical Issues, which still is not my autobiography. It's an encouraging book on for people. And people have come up to me and said that it has changed their lives and encouraged their lives. And I ended up writing all these children books. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm still supposed to write my autobiography. And my friends have said, Tiffanie, your life isn't over yet. That's why God has not put it on your heart to write your autobiography. And here I am running for Congress and doing all these other things because my life isn't over yet. So that's why I have yet to write my autobiography. And I'm writing plays and I'm writing all these other things. But that's your story. Your play wasn't yet there yet. That's why you couldn't do that yet, because she wanted to change the script. And my life isn't over yet because God hasn't finished the script. So both of us are dynamic women, and it's just all these plot twists.
And or new chapters. So it is
it's the hope. It's the hope aspect of the story.
Aspect. It's the next chapter. And
Yeah.
next chapter, future is always hope. In my balanced Tai Chi Gong, there's a form called the circle of life. And this is the direction of the future, which is the direction of hope. This is the direction of the past, where you put into the circle names of those who have passed, not to grieve them or mourn them, but to remember them whole. And there's a hope strategy. There's a hope tool. If you're in mourning or grief right now, feel it fully, right? I usually say a month, but I'm an overachiever, so I don't want to take a whole month to grieve. I feel like I've fully processed the grief, and it will come. Certainly, her celebration of life thing is on July 5th, and I just finished the eulogy and all of that, and I'm sure I'll process more, but the majority of it has been, cleaned out, that I am now able to do what I'm doing with you. So to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. But even if you're still in the midst of the situation, or if you're still in the midst of the frustration, feel it, process it, and remember that there is still hope, and it will not last forever. Because when it's over, we can say, okay, understand that hope is, you have hope, but sometimes you're still in the middle of that frustrating situation. But while you're in the middle of the frustrating situation, don't lose hope, don't give up. Figure out what you can do, whether it is prayer, whether it is meditation, whether it is talking to family or friends. Figure out what it is that you need to do, what it is that your go-to, whether it's watching a movie, whether it's writing, whether it's painting. Figure out what your peace is, and go do your peaceful situation.
Yes, absolutely. 100% agree. There's the power. I talked about it this Monday on Mental Health Matters Mondays, the ch word that my big brother Michael Bernard Beckwith introduced on Sunday, choice. You can choose to mourn. You can also choose to turn the corner into hope. That's your choice. So feel it fully, and then choose to see them not in their last hospital bed breath or the tragedy that killed them. Choose to see their life in the whole beautiful aspect of their life. And example of that, when my father was dying of lymphoma, instead of visiting him every day and feeling bad that he was dying, I wrote a book and read it to him, every chapter, what I learned from my father. And that gave rise to a conversation that was so rich before he passed, that there's less regret there, because we covered that. So if you're with someone who's dying in hospice, or, in that palliative care before hospice, use that idea. It's a instead of, how are you feeling today? They feel like crap. They're coughing a lung out. That's not the question to ask. It is, so Papa, I want to remember when we blah, 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 blah. And it was a beautiful, rich time. So hopefully that's a tool that you can use to practice the hope.
Absolutely. And I believe that when we are struggling, we have to remember that we can surely overcome. And a lot of times we should just persevere. And I always go with the mnemonic push for myself, pray until something happens. But that doesn't work for everything and everybody, because everyone isn't religion. And everyone doesn't utilize religion. Some people are not into that, and I don't want to force anything down anyone's throat. Whether it is a situation that you're struggling with, whether it is just something that you are dealing with internally, whether it is something you're dealing with externally, just know that you can persevere and you can overcome it.
I appreciate the latitude that you're giving people, that it is not, and we're a great example. I'm allergic to religion, and Dr. Tiffanie is religious. I'm more spiritual, and I define that as religion is for people who want to avoid going to hell, and spirituality is for those of us who've already been there. And that's how I define it. Again, even the way I define it isn't for the people that don't define it like Dr. Tiffanie. Whatever you believe, if it works for you, great. If you're believing something that doesn't work for you, like people are in hell, people are gnashing of teeth, people are being purgatory, people are, and it makes you feel bad, then I would say, meh, maybe you want to look at another belief system that doesn't make you really feel torn up inside when you think of the person who's no longer here in physical form. So I would say, though, a belief in something greater than yourself, whatever you want to call it, will make death not as big of a deal as if you have a belief that everything is random, everything is chaotic, there's no meaning to anything, and life isn't fair, and why do people even go with tragedy, and da 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 da, all of that. I have rarely seen that work well for anyone. They're not happy 88% of the time. They can't even approach happiness because they're pissed off at whatever. And I don't want to bring kids in the world, and I don't want, there's no God, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't work for most people. I've yet to meet an atheist who is happy. So you can prove me wrong, but I would recommend that you that it is easier if you don't fear death, if you don't have an abhorrence for death, if you don't think that death is the end, then it will make it easier and you'll feel better. Not great, but you'll have the hope, because if you don't believe, you don't have the hope.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say that grief is something that we cannot share with other people. Everyone experiences it by themselves. Dr. Marissa can't experience my grief, and I cannot experience her grief. She can have empathy and sympathy for me, and I can have empathy and sympathy for her, but we have to carry it ourselves.
I'm going to disagree for the first time in a little while, because grief shared is halved and joy shared is doubled. Because even I think I know why you said that. Like, nobody can actually know exactly how you feel. That part I agree with, but I don't believe that we have to carry that on our own. That if we try to carry it out on our own, and anytime someone asked me this last 2 weeks, how are you feeling? If I said, I'm fine, because I didn't believe that it would help to share that grief with them or that load, then I'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
So
See, I think you can confide in people and you can talk to people, but my emotions are always going to be mine. You can't carry my emotions for me, and you can support me while I bear my emotions, but you can't bear them for me. You can hold me up and you can be by my side and support me while I bear my emotions, but no one can bear my emotions
Yeah, I think it's just a semantic difference.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
we are vehemently agreeing with different semantics on the words.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I believe that grief is the price we pay for love. So when we love someone or something, we will grieve the loss of it. So it's nothing that we should be embarrassed about. It's a normal process.
That's why it's called the circle of life.
Yes.
Yes, we have to have death. If we had life without death, it would be like breathing in without breathing out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's all about balance. Final word, Dr. Tiffanie.
My final word again, grief is the price of love. When we love something, we will grieve its loss. And we just have to remember that there's always hope afterwards. And as long as we have hope, we know that tomorrow will bring a better day. And we should never give up on hope. We should never give up on optimism. And we should never give up on tomorrow.
My final word is there's a balance in life with death, that it is not as big of a hairy deal of gnashing of teeth and a horrible thing. It is just a part of life, and celebrating those who are no longer in physical form and thanking them and appreciating them for all that they were able to teach us and show us. And I'll say my mom, the toughness of her. I play the piano well because of her. I can teach cooking because of her. I'm disciplined because of her. I'm resilient because of her. I'm creative because of her. I have no fear as my middle name because of her. The one little story, Dr. Tiffanie, is she actually made a plane turn around. It had already gate closed in Taiwan when we were kids, and she made that plane turn around and pick us up. So
Okay.
that is the power and force of my mom, which I kind of followed the other month with the gay pride parade here, and everything was closed off. And I had a police escort out of the building. And I was in the parade for a California minute. That the stupid thing about that was someone made up the reason I got out is I told the cops that there was a bomb threat, which is the most stupid thing. Do you think a cop was going to escort me out if there was a bomb threat? Like, that's like stupid. So, but they have another issue that you'll find out about after I get my security deposit back. But I'm so grateful because it allowed me to go on tour. So but I digress there. What was that? Oh yeah, my mom. And I so appreciate, Mom, I know you're here. I know you're proud of the work that I'm doing, and I love you very much, and I know where you are, and I'll join you when it's my turn in that circle of life. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you, Dr. Tiffanie, for giving me a safe place to land and talk about my grief and hope. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go. Oh, take us out.
Now go and have the best day ever.